Good evening. It is Monday, April 6th at 7 p.m. and I'd like to call this regular meeting of the Lansing City Council to order and ask that the clerk please call the roll.
Councilmember Carter.
Here.
Councilmember Garza.
Here.
Councilmember Hussein.
Here.
Councilmember Cost.
Here.
Councilmember Martinez.
Here.
Councilmember Navarez Martinez.
Here.
Councilmember Pelivanoglou.
Present.
Councilmember Spatafor.
Present.
You have 8 members present at quorum, no members are absent, and we are to the meditation and pledge of allegiance.
Is there anyone or anything that folks around the table would like us to keep in our thoughts during our moment of meditation? Councilmember Hussein.
If I could ask folks to remember particularly the wife of a couple children as well as the grandchildren of James Travis Statmosary. If folks aren't aware, he did pass, I believe it was March 27th. Jim, if you did not know Jim, man, just an incredible person, infectious smile, really steeped in community service, longtime employee with the Lansing Board of Water and Light, very, very active in the IBEW, held a number of positions within that particular organization. Just an incredible guy. Did right by everyone around him, including his family. So again, if we could keep his family in our thoughts and prayers tonight, I certainly appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Hussein. Mr. Graham.
I would like to add to that. Jim's been a good friend for a long time. He was a road commissioner when I first met him, and everything that Councilman Hussein said is abundantly accurate and appreciated. And Karen, I know, is struggling, and his family. So I also ask that we all keep Jim's family in our hearts and prayers. Wonderful guy, big loss for our city and our community. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else, folks? All right, please rise.
All right, we are to special ceremonies and presentations.
Mr. Clerk, before we do that, I just want to make a note for folks in the audience. Items 26 and 29 will have been pulled from the agenda. Item 26 was the sale of city property, the 200 block South Cedar Street. That did not come out of committee of the whole, as the administration and the folks at Deep Green have requested to pull that back. And then they have also withdrawn Z3 2026, which is item 29. So while those are still items you can speak to, they will not be acted on by the City Council this evening.
All right, our first special ceremony is the appointment of Michael Lynn to the Board of Fire Commissioners.
Councilmember Martinez.
Thank you. Michael Lynn Jr. applied to serve on the Board of Fire Commissioners, and his application was selected by the Mayor's Office for consideration and appointment. He is a community organizer and nonprofit executive. On Thursday, April 2nd, he attended the Committee on Public Safety and expressed his interest and his why for being called to serve, and thus his application was moved forward by the committee for appointment by the council. I move the resolution appointing Michael Lynn Jr. as the 3rd Ward member of the Board of Fire Commissioners.
There's a proper motion. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Mr. Lynn, if you'd like to join the clerk in the well.
All right, step up to the mic, and if you would raise your right hand, repeat after me. You can be in the picture. We're going to get something. Yeah. Repeat after me. I do solemnly swear
I do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Michigan,
and the Constitution of the State of Michigan,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties
and I will faithfully discharge the duties
of the office of Board of Fire Commissioners member
as the office of Board of Fire Commissioners member
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
All right, congratulations.
Thank you. opportunity. When I called him about this or texted you about this, didn't know what the response I was going to get. But we've been along a long journey together. Wasn't always on the same side of things, but I do appreciate you as well as everybody up here. This is the second time I've been sworn in for the fire department, just so y'all, some of you may not know that. About 10 years ago, 12 years ago, I was sworn in the office down here as an actual firefighter. During that time, I was on our honor guard. I actually honor guarded Rhodey's funeral, who was a really close firefighter to me. I was on our AOGs, our Administrative Operating Guidelines Committee, and talked about and figured out how to change those, as well as our SOGs. I was a PIO, Public Information Officer. I was also on our water rescue team. So I was very active in that department, and really throughout the whole process that I went through, wanted to see change. We've seen a lot of change there, but I'm really excited to be on this board to be able to continue that work that I started there. So thank you all again for allowing me this opportunity, and I won't let any of y'all down or my community. Thank you.
We now have a presentation on the Oprah District for 418 Baker Street, Ron Holdings.
Councilmember Navarez Martinez.
Yes, so we have Mr. Leor Ron and Mr. Klein here to give us a presentation on the Obsolete Property Rehabilitation Act OPRA for property 418 Baker Street with Ron Holdings LLC.
Good evening, Council. Thank you. So yes, my name is Chris Klein, the Lansing Economic Development Corporation, and with me is Leo Ron, local developer, and is looking at developing the property at 418 Baker Street. So the request before you in the public hearing tonight is for the Oprah District. So this is an Obsolete Property Rehabilitation Act district. I do have a couple slides, really quick. So yeah, we'll cover what the OPRA is and then just give a brief overview of the development team and the project. All right, so what is an OPRA? This provides the opportunity for a tax abatement. So it reduces the tax burden on a property, in exchange, helping to get that property redeveloped. It has to be for commercial properties, and they have to be determined to be functionally obsolescent, and that's a determination made by an assessor. The process, it's two parts. This is the first part, so it doesn't include what we're discussing now, the actual abatement. It's just putting in place a district, and so the way that the statute was created, it could be larger districts, multiple parcels within a commercial area, or at the individual parcel level. And the reason, locally we've done those just on the parcel level, but the reason why we're splitting that up and have in the past, when you have properties that have many issues that, roofs caving in or that could cause additional damage, exposure to the elements that could further deteriorate the property. That's when we explore putting the district in place, because the work then could begin, the proper permits could start, and that wouldn't jeopardize a future request. And it does allow the developer to work with our team to put together the necessary materials for an application, to come back before you all to review that, determine that the need is there, that the project is acceptable, and then hopefully move forward with the abatement. So I will pass it over here to Leor.
Good evening, Council. So regarding the development team, the project is going to be development by myself and my company. I've been investing in Lansing since 2008. I own a little over 200 properties. Mostly have been well developed after purchase. We've bought quite a few red tags that are now livable. We have single families, multifamilies, and working a lot with the any types of affordable acts in the city. That basically we'll touch the design on the next one. So yeah, I think we're definitely capable of doing that. We've succeeded and completed quite a few projects in the city of Lansing, a little over 80 on all of our rentals, maintain all of them in good shape and always in good standing with the city. Okay, so the project right now, the building, our design or purpose is we're looking to turn it into one residential unit, one office unit on the first floor, and 2 more residential units on the second floor, basically facelifting the entire building. As I'm sure most of you know, just by driving, this building is in pretty dilapidated shape. We're planning a complete overhaul, anything basically from the basement all the way to the roof. We already won the facade improvement grant, so we're definitely looking to make it nice and beautiful for the use of the community.
So just to touch on the current conditions of the property, again, this was determined to be functionally obsolete by the city assessor earlier this year. Some of the reasons for that would be the HVAC, the electrical and plumbing systems. They're incomplete and obsolete. There are ADA compliance issues that you can see on that doorway that's a shower on the right-hand side, about the width of a doggy door. So that is definitely not compliant or frankly usable. So it'd be helping to correct those types of issues. And then the foundation as well as experiencing some cracking. So again, the request, and you can see the rendering here of the improvements to the building. The request would just allow Leroy to stabilize the property's foundation and roof, and then continue to pursue an OPRA certificate application, which would provide the abatement. And that is the end of the presentation.
Thank you. Do we have questions? Councilmember Cost.
Thank you, President Spatafor. This property, I think you're probably both familiar with this. The one next door collapsed a few months ago. We had approved an OPRA for that, but we didn't know the extent of the condition on the inside of that. Now, I've seen a couple pictures of the inside of this one. How severe is the damage inside here? Do we think that a stiff wind could knock it over?
No. So the building is structurally sound. Of course, some of the framing has to be repaired. Foundation. I mean, it needs severe repair. That's why we're doing it as is right now, so we can at least address some of the structural issues right now. It sustained, a good amount of damage recently between, the roof missing parts or rains coming in, and all kinds of structural members are being damaged, but we'll address them before. So I don't think our starting point is not as bad as my neighbor, and I think that this will definitely survive, assuming we'll be able to address some of those issues, mainly the structural one, within, let's say this summer.
Okay, perfect. And I appreciate the fact that you are taking an interest in this property, because that whole block, other than Leroy's and Corey's, and I think Lucky's Bar right there, realistically, there hasn't been, going back as far as I can remember, 30 plus years, there hasn't been anything in that corner building or the building that had fallen next door. So it's good to see some revitalization in this part of town. Fab Acres, which kind of is, it's in between Fab Acres and Baker Denora neighborhoods. Wonderful neighborhoods. So I wish you all the luck on this.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Councilmember Hussein.
Yeah, so I appreciate the interest as well. So you said that dating back to 2008, you've invested in how many different projects? City of Lansing?
About 200 doors.
200.
So,
Okay.
yeah.
And the nature of kind of your business is you redevelop, you own, you operate, you redevelop, you sell,
I redevelop to rent, so I'm a long-time player.
Yeah,
I
okay.
hardly ever flip in town, so.
Right. So then this particular development, if you were to move forward, it would be, you would own and operate.
Correct.
Okay. So in terms of.
In fact, I plan to move my office into the.
Okay, and I was just going to ask
Yeah.
you, so in terms of the commercial, were you looking at white boxing or tailoring for a specific tenant, but you're talking about
Yes.
moving into that space?
Yes.
Okay, and then in terms of the 3 residential units, so there's one bedroom apart? What are those?
2-bedroom, 2-bath, 3-bedroom, 2-bath, that's upstairs, 2-bedroom, 1-bath downstairs.
Okay, all right. And then, and I know, you know, the stabilization work has to happen, and I think we heard roof work and some foundation work, some structural issues within. What are we thinking timeline in terms of when you might be back before this body with an open request?
So we plan
Meaning cert request.
the whole project.
Well, to be back before council with a cert request.
So next month, no?
Yeah, I mean,
Oh, it's
pretty soon, so we're
fairly
moving
short.
along.
Okay.
And again, pursuing this with the district, not knowing exactly when we'll have all the materials together, but
Got
yeah,
it.
hopefully a matter of months. We'd have to hit by August in order to get this to the state. The statute currently sunsets, legislation sunsets end of this year. So we want to be able to pursue that, but I'd say a matter of, you know, months, couple months.
Thank you.
Any further discussion? All right, thank you both for being here. We have this on the agenda to vote later this evening.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we are to comments by council members and the city clerk.
Further comments from council members? Councilmember Martinez.
Yeah, I'd just like to say congratulations to the Lansing Lugnuts on celebrating their 30th anniversary opening weekend, and a happy belated birthday to former Mayor David Hollister.
Go nuts. Makes me feel old, though. Councilmember Navarez Martinez.
Yeah, so I wanted to comment on, I as well, or as our community has already spoken to us, we're very relieved to see the data center being taken out of the agendas. I have already received a couple messages of people saying, oh, you know, you guys dodged a bullet, you don't have to vote on this, you're not gonna, you know, make anybody upset. And I really want to push back against that, just because I personally, and obviously I can only speak for myself, when I say to folks that I try to say what I mean and mean what I say, I actually mean it. And I know that a lot of people don't, you know, take politicians at their at face value, because a lot of times folks will let the community down. But I want to reiterate that I actually do mean that. And so I want to go ahead and read the statement that I was going to read if the vote were to actually happen. And so today I will be voting no on the proposed Deep Green Data Center project. This decision is not about being anti-economic development, innovation, or investment in Lansing. It is about the kind of development we choose, where we place it, and who bears the impacts. I became an urban planner because I believe in the power of cities to create opportunities and improve people's lives. But I also came into this field with a clear understanding that planning has not always gotten it right, not even close. Urban renewal displaced entire communities. Freeways were routed through neighborhoods, dividing them and creating long-standing environmental injustices that many communities, including Lansing, are still living with. To me, this recognition is a responsibility. At its core, this proposal is not just a data center. It includes a 16-megawatt natural gas-powered fuel cell facility located in a dense, mixed-use downtown near homes, businesses, and the heart of our cities and our state's civic life. For me, this came down to a fundamental planning question. Do I believe a power plant belongs in downtown Lansing? My professional opinion is no. We are being asked to introduce a significant continuous source of emissions into a part of our city where we are actively investing in revitalization, where people live, work, and gather. We are also being asked to do so in a process where key components of the project were not fully transparent from the beginning. As planners and as elected officials, we have an obligation to think not just about immediate gains, but about long-term impacts, cumulative burdens, and the precedents that we set for the future. Earlier today, I shared a draft ordinance with the Office of the City Attorney that would prohibit data centers in commercial and downtown commercial districts and require discretionary review in industrial districts. The intent is to ensure that proposals of this scale and impact receive appropriate citing, stronger standards, and meaningful public input moving forward. I believe Lansing deserves development that aligns with our values, supports our residents, and strengthens our city without compromising public health, trust, or our long-term vision. For those reasons, I am a no vote. And I wanted to share that. I wanted to be transparent with the community about what I was going to be voting, because this issue is not over. We are still going to be the target of folks wanting to place these in our community, and I probably use the internet more than anyone up here. I am on social media constantly, and so I understand the need for data centers, but I also understand the need for us to be able to regulate them, and that is what I am trying to do. And the conversation with the city attorney has already started on that. Thank you.
Councilmember Hussein, folks. Please maintain order in the room. Council.
I just wanted to remind folks that we will have our next Third Ward Constituent Contact meeting this Saturday from 10 a.m. to 12 noon. That is at the Elfrida Schmidt Southside Community Center at 5825 Wise Road. Of course, we always discuss myriad issues regarding South Lansing, City Council in general, but we'll also have Woda Cooper Companies with us this Saturday to discuss a proposal for development at the former site of the Metro Bowl bowling alley at 5141 South MLK. And so they are interested in, I mentioned this at the last council meeting, they have a due diligence option on that particular property, and they are looking at potential $34.7 million 100-plus apartment building at that particular site. So ask them to come in to share with the community and to listen to input so that folks kind of know from the outset what they are looking to do, but also maybe have an opportunity to steer just a little bit the potential of that project. So in any event, again, that's this Saturday, 10 to 12 noon. Certainly would appreciate if folks came out. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Did you hand it right? No? Anyone else? Thank you, Councilmember Hussein. I'll just announce too, Wednesday, April 15th from 6 to 7:30 at 600 West Maple Street, the Neighborhood Empowerment Center. We'll be doing a Fourth Ward contact meeting. We have the HRCS department coming in to talk about the Nova Housing Pod project. We will also be in Old Town, so we'll be discussing the Cesar Chavez street renaming process, and then probably budget and anything else that comes up. So 6 o'clock on Wednesday, April 15th. Mr. Clerk.
Thank you. I do want to mention that we are still in the midst of an election, the May 5th ballot proposal for the Ingham Intermediate School District. I know many of you have gotten right on those ballots. Since there's only one question, we've already gotten over 3,000 returns. So thank you to those who've already participated, and you still have plenty of time to get an absentee ballot or return the one that you already have. Of course, there's an opportunity to vote on Election Day, as well as we will be having early voting. So please look for details at lansingvotes.gov. If you should have already gotten information in the mail regarding that, but you can always check lansingvotes.gov for any updates. And with that, we are to community event announcements. If there's anyone in the audience who has a community event, we'll give you 1 minute to tell us the details of your event.
Well, assuming that the rain has receded and the ground isn't still saturated, we're going to do a spring grounds cleanup in North Cemetery on Saturday, the 18th of April, from 11 to 1, and we invite the community to join us. We'll have rakes and gloves and trash bags and trash pickers, and we'll have some beverages and some light snacks. So if you're able to come out, it's the 18th, Saturday, from 11 to 1 at North Cemetery for a spring grounds cleanup. Thank you.
Thank you.
So, a couple announcements. First off, no neighborhood meeting in April. That's not going to be until May 2nd Wednesday, 6:30 to 7:30. But this month, we will state that Old Everett Neighborhood Association will be a vendor for the Neighborhood Resource Summit on the west side, I think. So if you're interested, please stop by. We'll probably be handing out a few flyers and looking to get people to come to our future meetings. Also, after a few polls on our Facebook and Nextdoor pages, we've decided that August 8th will be the date of our neighborhood picnic, and we'll be working with the city to reserve the pavilion. But yes, we will get to work on that. But yes, August 8th will probably be the date of our neighborhood picnic.
Thank you. Next.
I would just like to share on behalf of the Riotown Commercial Association that we are celebrating 25 years this year. And so on April 21st, we are having a little party, and anyone who loves Riotown is invited and warmly welcomed. It starts at 5:30, it goes to 8 o'clock, and we will be celebrating our history and looking forward to a bright future as we have some really exciting news to share. So that is all. Thank you.
Thank you. Next.
Hi there. Saturday, April 11th, there's going to be several anti-data center rallies throughout the state of Michigan. Here in Lansing, the Fledge will be hosting a roundtable discussion beginning at 11 a.m. and lasting until about 1 p.m. Topics include keeping money out of politics and anti-data center legislation. So that's Saturday, April 11th, 11 a.m. at the Fledge. Thank you.
Thank you. Next.
This Wednesday is the start of the Capital City Film Festival, so if you like to watch movies or just want to have a good time, this Wednesday is the start of it, and it will last for until the 18th. So if you want to find out more information, you can go to ccff.co.
Thank you. All right, that seems to be it. So with that, we are to, one more.
Lansing Empowerment Network has our housing meeting every first Thursday, 6 to 8 p.m. at Rio Elementary, and all these meetings are at Rio in person. Lansing 360 is every single Wednesday between 12 and 1, Gun Violence Prevention Collaborative. It's open to anybody that wants to join. Our monthly community meeting is every third Saturday from 10 to 12 p.m. Our Cradle to Career, our initiative surrounding around the school district, is every third Wednesday from 6 to 8. I believe this one on the 15th will have our new superintendent as well as Ingham Academy. Jakia sent this to me and I'm gonna forget. The Ingham Academy's superintendent will be there as well at that meeting. And the housing conversation, action-only conversations and tables. So there is information shared, but this is literally our space to decide what our city looks like when it comes down to all things development. We also have an economic development table that's talking on all those things as well. So lots of meetings to come to be engaged so we don't have to be reactionary.
All right, thank you.
Hello, everybody. Erica Lynn, Lansing Empowerment Network, and out of the Lansing Empowerment Network's Lansing 360 Gun Violence Prevention Collaborative came an initiative called CICPR. That stands for the Critical Incident Community Planned Response. This is a community-led, community-center response to gun violence. That means when gun violence happens, what do we as community do? How does that look? How does that work? So we're inviting folks, residents, stakeholders, leadership, systems drivers, systems leaders, anyone across our city that wants to support this protocol. It is a formal protocol that we have built, and we are inviting folks to come in to see where they can see themselves within that protocol. That may be officially in the protocol as someone that we can call for support, because we are trying to be responsive to families, individuals that experience gun violence in the ways that they need so that we're more responsive versus reactive. But also, we want to make sure that we're doing that in a very planned way. So that's 12 to 2 p.m. every Monday at Rio Elementary. If you have any questions, info@empowerlansing.org.
Thank you. Any others? All right, then we are to speaker registration for public comment on legislative matters. Legislative matters tonight does include the public hearings as well as the ordinances for passage, resolutions for action, and consent agenda. So on the agenda, on the printed agenda, that is items 3 through 29. And if you haven't had an opportunity to sign in with Emery in the back, we'll give you another minute to sign in with Emery in the back. And with that, we are to the mayor's comments.
Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. President, Mr. Clerk. Just a few quick things. A lot of it's been said. Capital City Film Festival, go check it out. It's going to be awesome. April 15th, it was mentioned, we have the city's Neighborhood Resource Summit. That is at Union Missionary Baptist Church at 6 p.m. I hope everyone will go. We always have an incredible number of vendors and resources there, free information. So again, April 15th, Neighborhood Resource Summit, Union Missionary Baptist Church on Kalamazoo and MLK at 6 p.m. Tomorrow, our innovation team, or our I team, is having an Energy Innovation Community Summit from 6 to 8 p.m. at the Fenner Nature Center in the Davis Nature Pavilion. They're going to talk about energy bills and how to access help for families. They're going to talk about energy policy solutions. So all are welcome to join that. And then lastly, the City of Lansing has our Empower program, which is now accepting registrations. It's a hands-on support, technical assistance, and resources program for Lansing's entrepreneurs and small business owners to grow and thrive. And I believe you can go to our LEDC website to get information and submit for that program. And that being said, and I know that you had mentioned this at the beginning, Mr. President, but the city has officially withdrawn from council the request for the rezoning for the data center. As it was our application along with Deep Green, we have withdrawn that, and we have also asked for removal, in addition to Deep Green, of the buy-sell agreement, which I know you've already taken off the agenda, so those are not happening. And we appreciate all the work that was done on this.
Councilmember Palvanaglu.
Thank you, President Spatafor. Mayor Shore, I just have a question for clarification for further context about the Deep Green being quote unquote off the table. I feel there's some concern that potentially, it could come back, or I just want to make clear and have you validate that this item is not something that's tabled or postponed. It is completely off the table, and if there's any mechanism that this particular company could come back with a proposal, can you please touch on that?
Yeah, these are withdrawn. So they are no longer up for consideration. I can't tell you what or if or who will do anything in the future, but if something were to be filed, it would have to go all the way back through the zoning process. The contracts would start all over again. These items have been withdrawn. We did not request a tabling. We did not request come back in 2 weeks. These have been withdrawn. So these items that you had before you today have been withdrawn.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Clerk.
Okay, with that, we are to public comment on legislative matters. And as I indicated, that is for items 3 through 29 on the agenda, and items 3 through 11 are public hearings. Items 3 and 4 are noise special permits.
Councilmember Palvanaglu.
Thank you. I will just take item 3 and then go into number 4. Item 3 is a noise special permit that was applied for by Michigan Paving and Materials Company. This item was addressed at the March 12th City Operations Committee meeting. Essentially, this project is a reconstruction of Pennsylvania Avenue from Mount Hope to Fayette Street, and to rehabilitate Mount Hope Avenue from Pennsylvania Avenue to Aurelius Road, and then to reconstruct and rehabilitate Jolly Road from Cedar Street to Pennsylvania Avenue. This project does include sewer work on all 3 roadway segments and water main work on Mount Hope Avenue. The request is for the timeframe of April 1st, 2026 through November 14th of 2026 for Saturdays from the hours of 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. And item number 4 on the agenda is a noise special permit submitted by Granger Construction, again discussed at the March 12th City Operations Committee meeting. This is as to the Tecumseh River Road Pump Station. The area of this project is bounded by Tecumseh River Park, and the Lansing Wastewater Treatment Plant, Willow Street, and Sunset Drive. There is a significant amount of utility work and other improvements that will be made. The request here is for work to be conducted, a waiver of the noise ordinance on Saturdays from 7 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. from April 11th, 2026 through October 30th, 2027. Thank you.
Item 5 is a public hearing on SLU 3 2026.
Councilmember Garza.
Thank you, Council President. So the applicant before us is Islamic Society of Greater Lansing. They submitted their application January 13th of 2026, went through staff review and planning commission. Now it's before council. This special land use permit would allow a place of worship inside an existing vacant suite at 5206 South Cedar Street. No construction or site changes at that place. It's approximately 4,800 square feet in a multi-tenant commercial building, just filling an empty unit. Includes religious services and community support programs like mentoring and helping families. Parking's already in place and sufficient, mainly in the rear lot. Fits zoning and master plan and does not change the character of the area. No negative impacts or disruptions to neighbors. It's a low-impact use and won't strain public utilities or services. Planning Commission recommended approval, and that's what I have for the public hearing. Very good.
Okay, item 6 is the Oprah District for 418 Baker Street.
Councilmember Tavares Martinez.
Yes, so we just heard the presentation from from Chris Klein and from Mr. Ron. This is for 418 Baker Street, an Oprah for that, and it will consist of 1 commercial unit and 1 residential unit at the bottom, and then 2 residential units in the top. Yep, that's.
And items 7 through 10 is a series of ordinances dealing with liquor licenses and zoning.
Yeah, so I'll just speak to them collectively if that's okay. It's no secret that across the state of Michigan, historically we've dealt with issues in terms of liquor saturation in not just urban areas, but specifically impoverished areas. And the city of Lansing certainly has not been safe or made safe from those processes, nor from that saturation. And last year we had a situation play out before the Liquor Control Commission that was exceptionally egregious. We had the city council pose a number of transfer requests for licenses that were in escrow. We had the public come out and do the same. The concern, I think, centered on where these particular liquor stores would be located. As an example, one at 4700 Pleasant Grove Road, I should say Rio Road, which is adjacent to a park, adjacent to a school, adjacent to low-income housing, adjacent to 4 or 5 other active off-site consumption liquor licenses. We have some 10% of people in that area actually are making $10,000 or less per year. 30% of the folks in that area are below the federal poverty line, and nearly 60 to 70% are below the ALICE threshold. And so we were incredibly upset when the community in droves, as well as this council, went to the commission and asked for them to turn that down. Unfortunately, through the appellate process, they overturned their original decision and actually approved the transfer request in front of them. And so we did a couple things. One, there's an effort to have a state response. We are actually working with Senator Singh as well as Senator Anthony on a draft bill. Actually, the bill has been finalized and actually referred to the Senate Regulatory Affairs Committee, and that's Senate Bill 624. So we certainly hope folks write their senators and demonstrate some measure of support. Again, that's Senate Bill 624, which would require local approval when we talk about certain off-site consumption liquor licenses. But we also needed a local response. And so what we are doing is proposing a series of ordinances that would do really 2 things. Number 1 would define liquor store as any store that 50% of their inventory, 50% of their sales is comprised of liquor, tobacco, vapor products, alternative nicotine products, that type of thing. And then also set a proximity distance requirement of 2,500 feet, which would be property line to property line, but those would actually be the closest points on each property line from one another. And so essentially what these 4 do is kind of put that in place, that process in place, give us a little bit more control over where these off-premise consumption liquor stores essentially are positioned. Thank you.
Okay, and item 11 is the public hearing on Z3 2026.
Sure, and as we mentioned, this is the 220 South Larch Street and 3 adjoining parcels on East Kalamazoo on South Cedar. Conditional rezone from D23 Urban Core to Industrial 1 Industrial, or IND1, industrial, to be zoned conditionally for a data center. Obviously, the application has been withdrawn, so there's the public hearing.
Okay, our first speaker is Jerry Norris, followed by Rafael Solis Jr.
Jerry Norris, The Fledge, 1300 Eureka. Excuse my shirt, for some of you at least. I don't think you. I'm going to use a couple of basketball analogies. You know, I want to stand up here and celebrate a win, but I don't really see it as a win. I see it as a block shot, maybe making a three, and maybe changing the tone of how our conversations can move forward. I think that we've cut a channel, and now the water can make it deep as it flows through it. And I think that Lansing, when I first saw the Deep Green project and we were trying to figure out why would they choose us, you know, the affordability goes through our minds, which I always think is a sellout of our resources and our people. And then I thought of civic engagement, that they're going to be able to push right over us. And I think that we really needed the civic engagement win. And again, it's a block shot. It's not a win. We have to start looking at, how did we get here? How did you guys bring this to us? How did so many people not want it? And how do we look forward and try to figure out how to not make this happen again? I don't want to be up here screaming and yelling and scared and all of these things that make me reactive to what's going on. I want to be up here working with you. I think a lot like what Michael said. And I just can't see a city where Bloom Energy is in it that is going to be acceptable, where solid oxide fuel cells in our downtown urban core is something that should ever cross your minds. It never crossed our minds. And how we could think of $1.2 million in revenue that in just the asthma cases alone could be $2 million in hospitalizations. How are we not thinking about social costs? I don't hate the unions. I don't hate technology. I love the unions. I want us to be building things that these union workers can look at and show their kids and their grandkids, you know, I'm proud that I built that. Not, I'm kind of ashamed that I built that thing and it hurts so many people, or it's so ugly right now, or it smells like skunk or whatever. And I don't know. We need to do better, I think, than what we did to get to this spot. And I also want to put on your radar this heating system. Do people know what they have to do when this converts? Do the buildings and the houses downtown know? Please start thinking about that.
We have Rafael Solis Jr., followed by Loretta Stanaway.
Good evening. Mr. Mayor, council members, I'm deeply concerned about what this process has revealed about for this community. This decision was about whether we were willing to base action on incomplete, misrepresented facts from those with financial incentives in the project, while accepting the risk of harm to the city of Lansing, its residents, and our neighbors. Information was not consistently available, key elements were disclosed late, and NDA's limited visibility, making real assessment difficult. MSU's Eric Nordman calculated the Bloom Energy fuel cells required for this project could produce about 105 million pounds of CO2 annually, based on data provided by LBWL. That volume of carbon dioxide would be enough to completely fill the MSU's Breslin Center Arena every 19 hours, or more than 460 times per year. Think about that. Those emissions figures were only at the point of generation and didn't include methane emissions from suppliers, meaning the full upstream climate impact was significantly higher. The inclusion of on-site power generation was not clearly disclosed up front, and that changed the nature of this project from a data center into a continuous energy production facility, and that should have been part of the public conversation from the beginning. On-site power generation allowed this project to avoid oversight typically required for traditional power plants. The LBWL's NDA with Bloom Energy and Deep Green undermined public trust. This project represented real health risks for residents, and proprietary claims were used to limit access to information about systems that affect public health. Comparisons made by the applicant did not hold under scrutiny Water usage was presented alongside a Wendy's, despite being many times higher, and noise was described in general terms without addressing continuous operation in a residential area. The project was framed as environmentally beneficial, yet it would have produced tens of thousands of CO2 annually while increasing demand for natural gas and shifting emissions upstream. Those emissions do not disappear. They are displaced. To make this project viable, the city was being asked to move away from its own plans and standards. The comprehensive plan, zoning framework, and climate commitments were placed in tension with a single proposal. The outreach did not reflect the residents most affected. Business interests were prominent, while community members were left responding to incomplete information. The area was described as underutilized, though it is a working class and diverse neighborhood. In closing, rezoning industrial contaminates land forever, hindering development and concentrating environmental impacts, and opening the door for further industrial expansion with adverse effects on the surrounding community. I urge you to continue to protect this community from material costs of expanded fossil fuel generation. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Loretta Stanaway, followed by Jody Washington.
Okay, just briefly, I want to take this opportunity to reiterate some things that have been touched on or kind of alluded to. I think one of the biggest lessons we have to take out of this whole process is what the process has revealed, and to make the distinctions that the administration, the council, other elected officials or representatives, Board of Water and Light, whomever, should recognize and realize you've kind of poked the bear here. You woke up a sleeping community and made them activists. You may not have wanted to do that, but that's what you've accomplished. Also, the Board of Water and Light's handling of this process has revealed a very flawed mechanism that eroded a lot of public trust and will take them a very long time to regain or rebuild that trust. And by threatening to put a substation in Wentworth Park, that is another step in the hole that they've dug for themselves and doesn't raise it up at all. So I hope they rethink that very seriously. And again, as I mentioned during the committee of the whole, the question has not been raised, to my knowledge, as to why the Board of Water and Light is projecting to put the costs of changing from steam heat to hot water heat on the ratepayers instead of on the businesses that will benefit from that conversion. So that's something else you guys should be thinking about. Thank you.
Thank you, Jody Washington, followed by William Walker.
Thank you, Jody Washington, Lansing. Funny, this weekend, I had a conversation with someone who's very knowledgeable that they were waiting to see the vote of the wild card, Dayanara, and that if she was going to vote no, they were going to pull it because it would be political suicide for the other 5. So I want to thank you, Ryan Cost, Adam Hussein, for standing firm against this project from the very beginning. Dayanara, thank you so much for staying with your moral compass and having the best mind of the citizens. For the rest of you, shame on you. But I really appreciate what you 3 have done. And there's no rush to fill this land. Andy, we don't have to throw up an apartment building on every piece of land we have. We need jobs. We need companies here so that all these people you're putting in these apartments have someplace to work. We can't forever go on these 425 agreements, and data centers is not the way to go. Bring us some real projects that we can get excited about, because I'm tired of hearing about the politically elite sitting in rooms and complaining about all the people that complain in this city. Give us something to not complain about. We would welcome it. But I'm sorry your administration has gone south. I'm sorry this council's quite inept. So please leave the land empty until we get another mayor and another council that has vision, a plan, critical thinking, and we can move forward. Thank you.
Thank you, William Walker, followed by Mercury Rose.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Before I do anything, I'd like to say thank you
to the individuals who stood up for the people and voted no on this project. And it kind of shames me at those who are written ready to vote yes. They sat here and listened to statistics after statistics brought to them by their constituents, but they had no knowledge of this. Your council was not researching this. One of the constituents spoke on the unreliability of Deep Green. And now we see exactly how unreliable they were. In the future, for you who are willing to vote yes, have you learned your lesson? Are you ready to listen to the people? This is what you're there for. Why is it only 3 people investigated and were willing to listen to the people? We don't want it. This is going to raise his head again in one way or the other. We're talking about the shuffle, property being sold for far below market cost. The people don't want it. Have we learned anything from Deep Green? Do we need a different council that will listen to the people? I went through impeachments, Richard Milhouse Nixon. I went through this type of stuff, revotes. Mason went for new votes, replacing the members. Do you honestly think the people of Lansing will not do the same? We have a government. It is supposed to be implemented by the voice of the people. Each one of you should know that. I hated history class, but now I see why it was indeed mandatory. We must learn from the problems of the past so that they do not become the problems of the future. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Mercury Rose and then Ivan Drosty.
Hi, I'm Mercury Rose. I've lived in Lansing for over a decade, and I hope it's the place I die. I love it here. I am very committed to this community and to being a responsible community member, to making my home a place that I can be proud to love. And yeah, I'm here to talk about the data center. I'm very relieved that it was pulled out. I don't feel hopeful about how that vote was gonna go. So I am here with a lot of gratitude in my heart towards the folks who were willing to make the seemingly unpopular choice to say no publicly, but obviously popular to the people. So thank you all who are willing to vote no, and a particular thank you to Navarez Martinez for putting that work in to help us be protected for the future and consider what those proposals look like moving forward so that we have a more effective process to protect our city. I did want to say that and thank you, and I really what an example of somebody serving in a public office. I hope the rest of you can maybe take a note from Martinez's handbook there. She's doing really great work. And I really got me looking at the city's sustainability plan. Have y'all read that? It's 27 pages. It's pretty great. It brought to my attention, though, that it seems like we have two hands working against each other, because if you had voted yes for that, it would have been in direct, against our sustainability plan. So if you haven't read it, I'd really like to encourage you to go read that. Feels like it would be important to your role serving on the city council to understand the city's sustainability plan. And it's highlighted in here under the mission and vision that Lansing will become its best self, a diverse, dense, livable, responsible, and welcoming environment. That data center and power plant obviously was not going to be in line with that vision at all. And I also want to say thank you to all of my other Lansing citizens and neighbors who showed up and spoke against this. I guess we don't know why exactly Deep Green decided to pull out of this deal and withdraw. But I hope that our voices were part of it, and for everyone that's at home and wondering if it was worth it to waste your Monday night it wasn't a waste because we showed up and we talked and we like said what was important to us. Some of us ineloquently, myself included, like our voices matter and we're really powerful. And now is the time to be like feeling that power and stepping into it more than ever. Because there are going to be more data centers that try to come to our city, and like where are they going to be placed and what's the environmental and like human cost of that going to be. We need to stay vigilant, and like how else are we going to move sustainability forward in our city? How are we protecting our rivers and our neighbors and our lands? Because at the end of the day, like, are our children going to be proud of the votes that we do make and the words that we speak, the choices that we make now?
Thank you. Next, we have Ivan Drosty, followed by Betsy Sneller.
Ivan Drosty, Ward 3. Today's a good day to be a Landstronaut. And, I think today's a day for celebration, but also reflection. So, I just want to say to Council Members Cost, Hussein, and Navarez-Martinez, thank you for your professionalism throughout this entire process. Your commitment to listening to the public and acting on our behalf has not gone unnoticed, so thank you. I want to thank my neighbors and my fellow community members here in Lansing. Today we won, and you all sacrificed so much of your time and devoted so much energy and did so much work over the past 7 months. You deserve this win, and I'm really proud to be a Lansing citizen today. I want to thank the folks from Sunrise MSU who worked alongside us with this. We have so many young leaders in that organization who fought so hard to protect the city I live in, even though they don't live here and many of them won't live here. It's very inspirational, and I have deep gratitude for their help. One question I fielded a lot over the last 7 months is why Deep Green chose us. And, Deep Green's answer was that, we have this hot water utility nearby. Someone, I forget who, suggested that, maybe they didn't choose us because we have this unique infrastructure, but because we have a uniquely weak government. And I don't know if that was the case, but if it was, I think that they didn't account for the fact that we may have a weak government, but we have a strong community. And I think that if they didn't know that before, they know it now. So we celebrate, but we look forward, because as Dea so rightly put, this is not the end. So I call for City Council to pass a moratorium on data centers, as many municipalities have. This needs to be done yesterday. We need to buy ourselves some time so that we can pass a robust data center regulatory framework in City Council in order to protect ourselves from predatory projects like this going forward. And we need to start aggressively pitching this plot of land. This is such a great opportunity for our downtown district to be improved. I mean, we could do so much amazing stuff with this parcel. That part of town is really on the upswing. And, please listen to us, because so many of us have such a wonderful vision for what downtown and really this entire city can be. We really want Lansing to be a wonderful, livable city, and it can be that, but we will need your help. So thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Betsy Sneller, followed by Mike Smulligan.
Hi, everyone. I am Betsy Sneller. I am going to be very ineloquent because I came prepared to have a very different reaction to today. So I will just say I live in Lansing. I'm raising my family in Lansing, and I am actually just filled with optimism for the future here. I am ready to celebrate with my community that we are not having a data center put smack down in the middle of downtown. And I also want to share my appreciation for City Council. I know that y'all slowed down and you took the time to listen to your constituents, even if some of you may not have been planning to vote the way that some of your constituents, myself included, would have hoped. I just want to articulate my appreciation for the slowing down of it. I think that allowed community members to get more involved and to share our vision of what a thriving place that Lansing could be. I also want to echo, I don't know the person's name who just spoke before me, but like a moratorium on data centers until we have our own stuff together to make sure that whatever happens is in the interests of the community. That sounds great. Let's do it. Thank you.
Thank you. Mike Smulligan is next, followed by Heidi Fry.
Good evening. My name is Mike Smulligan. I live at 606 River Street in the Cherry Hill neighborhood. I don't know if it was Winston Churchill or the always articulate Donald Trump that said, "Never let a good crisis go to waste." But we have a good crisis on our hands here, and I think the crisis remains. Even with Deep Green pulling out of this proposal, I think there's still a crisis where the public has lost some trust in the process. And I think there's an opportunity for City Council to rebuild that trust. I also think there's an opportunity for City Council to engage the community and to invite them to continue to participating in making Lansing a better place. I came prepared to talk about three issues: about zoning, about environmental justice, and about good governance. It's amazing how fast 3 minutes goes. But zoning is all about, creating the city that we want to live in. Zoning is how we keep pot shops from being placed right next to an elementary school. Zoning is how we keep porno shops from being placed right next to a church. Zoning is how we keep industrial power plants out of residential neighborhoods. And the city of Lansing has this beautiful design Lansing plan from 2012 where hundreds of people were engaged with this plan. Let's dust this off and let's put it to use, because let's build a beautiful city. Now, when it comes to environmental justice, there is a sustainability action plan that Lansing has, and this is a wonderful plan. It's bold and it's ambitious, and it has a whole lot on every page about environmental justice, where we don't put power plants in poor residential neighborhoods, where the cost of pollution is not factored into the economics of a project. And so let's continue to work on environmental justice here, and let's build a beautiful city here in Lansing. And then finally, the third issue is governance. There's an opportunity to improve our governance here in Lansing, and I would argue that if the city of Lansing ever wants to make Ann Arbor jealous, what we need to do is have a city council that is very good at regulating a monopoly. Because the Board of Water and Light has not been a great player in this whole situation, and my cute little sign for the protest today was reminding everyone that the Board of Water and Light is a monopoly. Consumers, DTE, are monopolies that are not well regulated. If you want to make a difference here in Lansing, be engaged with regulating an energy monopoly so that we can transition to clean energy. Let's protect Wentworth Park. The Board of Water and Light wants to bulldoze over the 9/11 memorial and the biggest, oldest trees in Lansing for a hot water plant. Let's build a better city. So please, let's take advantage of this crisis. Let's build public trust, and let's build public engagement. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next is Heidi Fry, followed by Matt Lidzewski.
Okay, thank you. Heidi Fry. I'm a resident of the 4th Ward. I do want to thank all of the council for presumably reading through a lot of comments. I know that I was in contact with my representatives. Surely everyone else received comments and has spent time on this issue, so thank you for dedicating your time to this. I do want to extend a particular thank you to the 2nd Ward councilperson, Councilperson Martinez, for your statements. I don't know that anyone could have said that better. That, I think, is the vision that Lansing needs. I'm particularly troubled by the trust factor that we've had and some of the language that has been used to describe this conversation that we've been having as a community. So words like misinformation have been used to describe rational public interest in this and questions that we've had, questions about the science, questions about emissions, questions about how much CO2 in the atmosphere is my kid going to be on the hook for in the future. These are rational things, and these aren't statements about misinformation. These are the comments of a rational, engaged community. And I'm hopeful that we can move forward and not dismiss these kind of statements as, a conversation of those who are friends of vacant parking lots versus those who want a future of the city. I think the future of the city is recognizing that we are interested in an economy that is grounded in green infrastructure in the future and being cognizant of things like emissions, things like making the city more livable, and things like having trees, paying attention to tree equity and environmental justice. I did want to, since the topic of finances has been brought up, and a couple of other speakers have mentioned things to this effect. We've been talking about we need to bring revenue into this city, and this number's been thrown around, which amounts to about 1/330th of the proposed city budget, this $1 million that this is supposed to bring in. When you take into consideration what's called the social cost of carbon, and this is an EPA number, so there is an $85 per metric ton of carbon dioxide that is attributed to this. And this is things like environmental consequences, things like mental health, implications on air quality and asthma. When you factor in all of those consequences and figure as best we could come up with as a community what was supposed to be the estimated carbon emissions, that comes out to $4,301,000 annually of a social cost of adding those kind of emissions downtown to residents that live there and that our children will be on the hook for mitigating in the future. When you look at mitigation, that's about 20 million trees or more to mitigate that kind of carbon. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is Matt Rudzuski, followed by Cody O'Neill.
Hey, I spoke out against the data center previously and wasn't planning to come in again today, but I saw a quote from the mayor in WKAR after this fell apart stating, as this property will remain an empty parking lot, I ask all those who suggested housing on these parcels to provide their proposals for development and housing. I agree that would be great for this area, and I look forward to seeing these proposals and financing to make it happen. And honestly, this is kind of embarrassing and childish. I would suggest possibly, now that my proposal has been defeated, I've listened to the public, and I'll do everything in my power to make sure that we see housing at this location, which I would disagree respectfully with Jody Washington that I do think that increasing housing, putting up more apartments is a good thing. Building density is a good thing because we already have a lot of empty storefronts and vacant commercial buildings. More people mean more customers, mean more opportunity for businesses. More businesses mean more people want to live here. I mean, there's more opportunity to build housing, which brings in more people, which brings in more customers. It's a positive feedback loop. And what was really wild about this statement is it seems that the mayor did not see it as his job or his administration's responsibility to bring in investment proposals or developers. And it's sort of putting it on the residents who came and said that they want to see more housing. He's saying, oh, well, go bring them to me. I'm sitting here waiting for proposals to come up to me. So if it was my responsibility, one thing I would think to do is after reading this quote, I Googled real estate conferences in the area. There's one happening in Grand Rapids in 3 weeks, another in Detroit in June. I would wonder, does the city have representatives going to those meetings? Is there any effort to bring those development conferences to Lansing? And then I would go to those conferences and talk up the city and this location in particular, because it is a 30-second walk to the river trail. It's a 3-minute walk to a grocery store. How many locations within the country have both of those things? We have a new redevelopment at Michigan and Larch. You know, a lot of those businesses could use more people nearby who could walk up and shop there. There is a new public space that's available just north of Michigan on the Riverwalk. Dozens of businesses along Michigan Avenue. It's walking distance to downtown. You want to see transformative change downtown in addition to new vision, you can develop this location into housing, bring more people.
Thank you. Next is Cody O'Neill, followed by Scotty DeSass.
Hello, Cody O'Neill, First Ward. First, I want to express gratitude that Deep Green pulled out of this idea. But more so, I wanted to thank Councilmembers Cost, Hussein, and Navarez Martinez for being in vocal opposition and for specifically listening to the constituents and saying, why are we still talking about this when 90% of the people who are out here are in opposition? Also for asking questions that are getting down to the deeper problems that we don't know we may have. Asking questions not to make them look better, but to really figure out what the potential problems are with any projects that are coming into council. Now, a lot of people spoke in opposition to the data center, and even if all of the comments weren't necessarily relevant to a data center of this size or this location, they were still relevant to the desires of the people. The people spoke out against surveillance, spoke out against AI, speculative technology, and fossil fuel infrastructure. But more than that, the people spoke yes for walkable spaces, for jobs, for thoughtful infrastructure, for green infrastructure, and for listening to constituents. So what's next? There are a lot of opportunities for this space and for spaces around that area. There's another vacant parking lot just catty corner to the lot that was proposed for Deep Green. There's a lot that can be done there, whether it's a green space or housing or businesses. I think it would be great if something did happen with that parking lot. I walk by it often. I live a quarter mile away. It's always kind of empty or filled with mulch, which, doesn't really matter. But people want to come to Lansing. Deep Green doing this proposition has shown this, and I think you folks have a really good opportunity to find other organizations or businesses to come in to Lansing rather than waiting for people to come to us. So what are some projects that you could do in order to help Lansing and help the unions who were very for this project? You could fund projects like expanding thermal energy networks, bolstering our pipe systems to ensure that they're resistant to extreme rainfall, which is going to only increase with climate change, or to support carbon capture projects, although I'm more in favor of trees and clean energy. So I just hope that you folks really think about what the future of Lansing looks like and how projects that only increase our carbon pollution would detract from the future of Lansing. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is Scotty DeSass, followed by Nicholas Zandy.
Scotty DeSass, 710 Randall. I'm glad to hear that we're turning down the data center. In regards to the emissions, the problem that I'm dealing with in my own area, I'm glad you turned it down because this is an area where nobody has any experience on what these centers are going to create. And I think it would have been a Pandora's box had you done that. So thank you very much for turning it down. That's all I got to say.
Thank you. We have Nicholas Zandy, and then we have a virtual participant, Deborah Mulcahy.
Thanks. Nicholas Zandy, I am from the 2nd Ward in the Old Everett Neighborhood Association. And I'm going to speak on the agenda items that were pulled because Deep Green has pulled out. All I want to say is, while I do try to, and I want to celebrate this small victory of Deep Green just running away like cowards, But honestly, I don't know if I am one to run away from a fight or anything. I don't know. But still, some people say I'm a coward, but I'm not here to fight anyone today. But still, seeing this, it speaks to this problem that it has to the city, and it just exposed like the very weaknesses and problems that a lot in our city leadership, who are supposed to be sticking up for us, but have basically been ignoring us and pushing us aside. And while I do thank Ms. Navarez-Martinez, Mr. Hussein, and Mr. Koss for actually standing up for us and calling out Deep Green on their garbage, trying to keep it clean here. But I was also at I will point out that I was actually at the No Kings protest, and I held this up saying, why are we spending money on data centers and not community centers? And this is going to be relevant, and I will be speaking more on the whole community center thing tonight. But I will just mention here that to make our city more livable and more community friendly, I'd say a community center would be a better start than a data center. Because data centers, this data center especially, they were being very shady on how polluting the whole thing it was going to be with the environment until it was eventually exposed what they were doing. And they overvalued their value with taxpayers. And it's just, this to me just very openly, as Ryan Koss rightly pointed that out. And this to me just shows not only the vulnerabilities in our leadership, but it just shows that we need newer, stronger, and possibly younger leadership to actually get things done and who actually better understands the voices of the people. And I'll just say this, in all due respect, I don't think that Mr. Shore should run for another term. He has used up his time, just as I'm about to use up my own time right now, and that we seriously need new leadership who can actually better understand the issues. Maybe someone like, I don't know, a Mamdani type who actually can understand the issue of affordability and to actually build up affordable housing as well as better regulations so that none of this can happen and that another Deep Green doesn't come into our communities. That's all I'm going to say, and I'll yield the rest of my time.
Thank you. Next, we have our virtual participant, Deborah Mulcahy. And while she's getting queued up, I will mention that we received over 100 written communications for and against the Deep Green proposal, as well as a couple of communications in support of the SLU for 5200 South Cedar, and those will all be made part of the public hearing record. Is Deb queued up? Okay. Deborah, let's. We can hear you now.
To give and a thank you to the at-large council members who were responsive to either my texts, my phone calls, or my emails. We had good dialogue, as well as Ryan and Adam. Didn't always agree, but we had good dialogue, whether it was a Deep Green or other matters, and I appreciate the response to my inquiries. To Tamara, to Clara, to Trini, and to Jeremy. I thank you. What I'd like to see, and I haven't seen it, maybe it's out there, is a posting of the withdrawal of the application from both the City of Lansing and Deep Green. If it's not been posted, I recommend it be posted. And one thing I would like to see is I'd like to find out how it was that Deep Green ever came to the city of Lansing and the Border and Light. Is it important? I think it's important. I think it's important as part of government. How did it come to be? And then, was the process that was followed the proper process? Meaning, were the procedures that were in place done properly? And if so, then shame on us. We need to change those procedures for that process. And if they weren't, shame on everybody as well that was involved with the process. I think of the time and energy, and no pun intended there, money spent by all of us as citizens involved with this process. It's grueling. People talked about lack of trust. There's been a huge amount of lack of trust. And what the city needs to do going forward is look at the process. Was the process done right? Look at the process. If it was done wrong, make sure that going forward, the administration doesn't allow that to happen. And then the issue about the monopoly that Mike Smelligan spoke about in reference to the Board of Water and Light, I spoke about this at Committee of the Whole. Why are we, the residents of the city of Lansing, paying enough money or so much money, extra money, that the Board of Water and Light can give up to $1 million or so each year to the city of Lansing? Why don't they just charge us what it really costs? Thank you much, and I'm glad it went as it did for now.
Thank you. And that was our final speaker, so we are to the referral of the public hearings, item 3.
Public service.
Item 4.
Public service.
Item 5.
Development and planning.
Item 6.
Development and planning.
Items 7 through 10.
Public safety.
And item 11. File.
File. Place on file.
Okay, we are to the consent agenda.
Vice President Palavanaglou.
Thank you. I would move the consent agenda as presented.
Proper motion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion carries.
Okay, then we are to resolutions for action. Item 23, setting a show cause hearing.
Councilmember Martinez.
Yes, thank you. This property was reviewed and discussed on Thursday, April 2nd by the Public Safety Committee. The homeowner attended and provided context to the current state in the process, as well as the condition of the property and its damages. The original red tag date was November 29th, 2024. The committee is in favor with moving forward through this process and setting a show cause hearing on orders to make safe or demolish to the owners of 108 West Barnes Avenue for April 20th. Before I move the resolution, however, it is in need of an amendment to include the date, April 20th, as it comes out of the committee without that change. So first, I would like to move to amend the resolution to include the date, April 20th.
That is a proper motion. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries.
Now I'd like to move the resolution as amended.
There's a proper motion. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye. All those opposed, motion carries.
Okay, item 24 is special assessment for Glenburn Commons.
Vice President Palavanaglou.
Thank you. We have heard on this special assessment for Glenburn Commons previously in the public hearing that was held and in the City Operations Committee. This is an assessment that happens annually. The total amount of the assessment is approximately $25,220. This amounts to about $57.37 per occupied parcel, and it covers services provided by Tomlinson Lawn Care from March 31st, 2025 through November 30th, 2025.
It's a proper motion. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion carries.
And item 5, special assessment for the Principal Shopping District.
Councilmember Palavanaglou.
Thank you. Again, this was heard in the Committee on City Operations on February 26th of this year. We did have a public hearing on this item. Essentially, the rates would increase on the principal shopping district assessment by 3% from the 2025 rate. There are some exemptions for federal, state, and government buildings. Residential properties are excluded. And the Committee on City Operations did consider multiple appeals to the assessment during the March 26th meeting. With that, I would move the special assessment. Thank you.
It's a proper motion. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed? Motion carries.
Okay, we are to ordinances for introduction and setting of the public hearing. We have an ordinance of the City of Lansing, Michigan, re-adopting the codified ordinances of the City of Lansing. The ordinance is read a first time by its title and referred to the Committee of the Whole.
20th. Councilmember Palavanagu. Let me double check.
Thank you, President Spatafor. This has to do with the, readopting the codified ordinances. This is the Code of Ordinances for the City of Lansing as amended and republished through Supplement 64. And just to note that all general and permanent legislation of the city from the date of the entry through December 31st of 2025. This is a readoption, is not to be construed to affect a right or liability or to relieve any punishment or incitement. And so with that, I would move this for the public hearing on May 4th, May 4th, 2026. Thank you.
That is a proper motion. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye. 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 All opposed? Motion carries.
We're to ordinances for passage. We have an ordinance of the City of Lansing, Michigan to amend Chapter 1460 of the Lansing Codified Ordinances by amending Section 1460.44 to 1460.52 to clarify and update the regulation and certification of rental properties and adding Section 1460.53 regarding information to be provided to tenants at the time of occupancy is read a second time by its title. The ordinance was reported from the Committee on Public Safety and is on the order of immediate passage.
Councilmember Martinez.
Thank you. Yes, so this body has seen this amendment previously. This ordinance, there was a request to maintain the 3-year license, and so the Committee on Public Safety chose to adopt that. Thus, I would move to adopt the ordinance amending this chapter.
This proper motion. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, would the clerk please call the roll?
On adoption of the ordinance, Councilmember Palavanagu.
Yes.
Councilmember Spatafor.
Yes.
Councilmember Carter.
Yes.
Councilmember Garza.
Yes.
Councilmember Hussein.
Yes.
Councilmember Cost.
Yes.
Councilmember Martinez.
Yes.
Councilmember Navarez Martinez.
Yes.
8 yeas, 0 nays, the ordinance is adopted. And that brings us back to speaker registration for public comment on city government-related matters. That's the yellow sheet. If you wish to sign in, we'll give you another minute to get up and sign in with Emery in the back. And with that, we are to reports of city officers, boards, and commissions.
Vice President Palavanagu.
Thank you. I move that all items be considered as being read in full and that the proper referrals be made by President Spatafor.
That is proper motion. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries.
We have from the clerk minutes of boards and commissions.
Place on file.
From the mayor, grant acceptance, Michigan Recycling Coalition.
Ways and Means.
Local Development Finance Authority budget.
Ways and Means.
We have 4 traffic control orders.
Committee on City Operations.
Sole source purchase for the Great Lakes Breathing Air LLC for Make Air Compressors.
Ways and Means.
And Human Resources and Community Services Quarterly General Fund Grants Report.
Placed on file.
From the Lansing Economic Development Corporation, the 2025 Annual Report.
Placed on file.
And from the Lansing Housing Commission, financial statements and independent auditors report for the fiscal year ended June 30th, 2025.
Ways and Means.
And their annual report.
Placed on file.
Communications and petitions, we have an affidavit of disclosure, Joseph Sturley, Police Department.
The Ethics Board.
And we have 3 claim appeals.
Committee on City Operations.
We have 14 communications from Allison Peeler on various city government-related matters.
Placed on file.
And we are to remarks by council members.
I see no remarks.
Remarks by the mayor or executive assistant.
The basketball games. Mark, anything? No, sorry, thank you.
All right, then we are to public comment on city government-related matters. We have Stan Schuck, followed by Scotty Tessess.
Good evening, Stan Schuck, South Lansing. I just kind of want to rebut Andy Kilpatrick on Fox 47 the other night. And across the screen in the big blue ribbon, it said that Public Service has 220 employees. And when they reconsolidated, they kind of put everybody under one umbrella. But I'm gonna lay a little math on you. In operations and maintenance, there are physically 84 people that punch into that building. Of that 84, 18 are in CART. 20 are in parks, and that encompasses forestry. That leaves 46 individuals. Of the 46, 2 are on afternoons, and 1 is on nights. That leaves 43 people that are physically doing infrastructure maintenance in the city of Lansing on a daily basis as part of their 40-hour work week. Saying there was 220 people in public service was so disingenuous to the residents of Lansing, thinking that they've got some sort of full workforce out there potholing and everything else. And to touch on that and to touch on the elimination of the night crew, real soon here in the next week or so, they're going to take those people that are all on days and they're going to put them on nights on overtime. And what are they going to be doing? Sweeping. Why are they putting it on overtime at night sweeping? Because that is the most productive time to do it. And they want to make the most for their overtime money. So they're taking the people that were on that shift on straight time doing the work on a daily basis, moved them to days, and now they're going to move them back on an overtime basis to do the work that they used to do for straight time. And this is the kind of management that we got going on. And, you know, real quick, you're getting into budget, those 6 seasonal jobs in recycling that haven't been filled in probably 2 decades. And if you fill one, they immediately move up to full time and they're never replaced. Those are the definition of ghost jobs. I don't know what exactly is budgeted for them, but I'm guessing it's around $300,000 a year. And then you're paying a full-time employee to do it. And the 2 additional refuse people that they asked for as backup, well, there you go. That's why. Think about all that while they're asking for money.
Thank you. Next, we have Scotty DeSass, followed by Kyle Richard.
My name is Scotty DeSass. I'm here about the industrial trucking operation located directly behind my home, an operation that remains incompatible with a residential neighborhood. Since the last address to the council, I regret to report conditions have not improved. In fact, they have gotten worse. Operating hours extended further in the evening, with activity continuing until approximately 1 o'clock in the morning. This leaves little time for nearby residents to experience peace or relief. Semi-trucks continue to operate extremely close proximity to my home. The idling in prolonged periods, revved engines, engine braking, and sound of air horns. These disruptions are not occasional. They are constant, unpredictable, deeply intrusive, and on multiple occasions, trucks have idled directly behind my home, allowing fumes to come into my home. This persists on ongoing serious concern for my health as well as for others in the neighborhood. While there was a brief improvement in property maintenance, conditions have now deteriorated again. I have continued to document these disturbances, hammering, causing ground cage vibrations, truck idling along the fence line extended periods, visible smoke accumulating across the lot, trucks running for hours at a time, including instances where they operate in their building with the doors open. This is not an isolated incident, but part of a persistent and escalated pattern. The mounting impact of this operation has created a state of constant stress for me and others in the neighborhood. I have even considered selling my home to escape these conditions, but current market limitations make this option unfeasible. As a result, I feel trapped in my own home. This situation is not sustainable. I respectfully but firmly urge the council to take decisive action by reevaluating and changing the zoning destination of this property to prevent incompatible industry use within a residential area. The health and safety and well-being of your residents and the future of this, the stability of this neighborhood depend on it. Thank you very much.
Thank you. We have Kyle Richard, followed by Loretta Stanaway.
Good evening, Council. I'll reintroduce myself. My name's Kyle Richard. I'm a 4th Ward resident. I'm a teacher. I work with students with autism. I'm a volunteer at the Mid-Michigan Tenant Resource Center and a non-voting member of the Rent is Too Damn High. They classify me as a special case landlord. And I'm here in an additional capacity as a candidate for Lansing Board of Education, also known as the Lansing School Board. And just, you know, for those of you who have been watching for a while, you can consider this to be my second retirement. I've got other places I got to be other than here on a Monday night. So I'm running for Lansing Board of Education because I want to see the Lansing School District build or acquire units of housing to provide permanently affordable housing to district teachers, families, and staff. And I would want to be clear when I say and staff that that's like and Morgan Freeman. You know, these are the people who are there day and night making the job actually get done. Access to safe, stable, secure housing is a predetermining factor for student achievement, graduation, and long-term career success. And I think that, you know, love 'em or hate 'em, Superintendent Schuldner left us in a strong financial position. And I think that we can think about how could we serve the community differently. And alongside the issue of housing, this is a housing first campaign. I would also like to see more transparency from the district. The district right now just recently appointed somebody in the dark. They did it, you know, off camera, no recording of the meeting, no recording of the interview. Seemed like a good choice from, you know, what I've been able to see so far, but I wasn't able to see the interview. And so I would want to see more transparency, you know, get the committee meetings shared online as well. And then this being sort of, you know, my second retirement from this body, if I was going to give any parting words, I would, you know, say prioritize tenants. Roughly 50% of the city of Lansing, roughly half, are renters, and more than half are tenants in one way or another. And so I would ask again that you pass the entirety of the Tenant Bill of Rights package that Rent is Too Damn High introduced last year. And I would say take it a step further. I was in Seattle recently with, there was local electeds from around the country, and one person from Portland was talking about an eviction moratorium during the school year, every year. And I think about what it would mean to build a city where no child is evicted during the school year. My family moved in the 6th grade. We weren't evicted, but that move affected my education, and it affected you know, my social emotional development. And we have students who come to the Lansing School District, they move 10 times before they get to high school. And so just thinking about different ways that we can support the community, support our students, and support our teachers, I think we can build a better city together. So thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Loretta Stanaway, followed by Nicholas Zandy.
Okay, everybody knows it rained a lot. Everybody knows it flooded. Everybody knows that there are certain areas of our community that routinely flood whenever there's a heavy rain. Some of those areas particularly are in the Kalamazoo Clippert area, and I can remember, and I'm sure I did not imagine just this, several years ago, maybe 5, 6, 7 years ago, before there was a flood, because we knew it was coming as we had known this one was coming, the city actually took some large, I think they were resin or plastic of some kind, I believe they were orange, flood-designed barriers, and put them in the roadways at Clippert and Kalamazoo to prevent and divert rain from flooding those areas that typically had flooded. It worked. It was successful. I've never seen them since. I don't know whatever happened to them. I don't know where they are. I don't know if we still have them, or if we sold them or gave them away, or what we've done. But I would ask, why are we not using those, and where did they go, and where is our mayor to answer that question? Thank you.
Thank you. Next is Nicholas Zandy, followed by Sean Brock.
Hello. So, again, Nicholas Zandy from the Old Everett Neighborhood Association. And I've briefly touched upon how we should be doing more community centers and way less data centers. And, well, now I'm going to be focusing on the community center side of this whole thing. So, as we've seen through the Alfred Schmidt Community Center, which apparently had a very unreliable high school principal there that I will not be going into at this moment. But having said that, I will be focusing on the fact that because the high school has moved in there, and I mean no offense to anyone who works there, but it has overbooked and overcrowded the community center so much that it's become a pretty unreliable community center for the south side that we may need a second one within the boundaries of the second ward. And in fact, the Parks and Recreation has done a survey about this very topic. And I think the link is on the website and it's still up. I want to make this clear that I think we should have one within the boundaries of the second ward, and there are a few locations that I've actually suggested as places where I think that a community center should be built. And I think the fire station on Miller Road, there's an empty lot right next to it. I think that should be considered. I'm not sure about extending the pavilion at Fenner. I think that one's a little bit up in the air on the idea. Maybe that old wellness center on Edgewood could also be a possibility. Again, those, or the old fire station on Cedar Street, that one should be considered. Again, we really need to have a community center just anywhere but the Hope soccer complex, because that area has quite a bit of pollution due to the city dump, I think, once being there. So that should just be off the table. But anywhere else in the second ward that is empty and usable, I think should definitely be considered, because we really need a community center in the second ward. All other three wards have one. In fact, the first ward, I think, has two. So we really should have a second one in the south side, especially since the Alfred Schmidt one's becoming less and less reliable because of the high school there. So so we really need to consider that. And also, yes, again, to reiterate, extend Route 6 so that we actually can have a Jolly Road connector. But still, in general, please consider the second ward for a new community center. Maybe somewhere on Miller Road might be the best place. And that's all I'm going to say, and I'll yield the rest of my time.
Thank you. Next is Sean Brock, followed by Frederick McLaughlin.
Hello again, I'm Sean Brock. Currently live in the 4th Ward, lifelong resident of Lansing, almost 57 years. Come next month, it will be 57. But I just want to reiterate something that I have said before. First off, I'd like to say that I am happy about the events of today. Regarding the data center, I thought it was completely unnecessary, and I think we all know why they backed out, because they found that Lansing will resist. But I also want to thank the few members of City Council that have been leaders and actually listening to their constituents. And I just want to put into people's mind that your jobs are all temporary. And if we can't find somebody that's here right now to be a leader, maybe we go out and find somebody who will be a leader, because this town needs leadership, and from what I have seen, it has been sorely lacking for the last few years. And we have plenty of community leaders that can do the job, and I think some of them, some of us will step up and try to do that. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Frederick McLaughlin, followed by William Walker.
Frederick McLaughlin, 1407 West Holmes Road. can't believe I'm not the last speaker. That's how I usually end up. Anyway, I wanted to draw attention to the planning department. It seems to me that the planning department effectively has become a de facto real estate operation. In fact, the whole city feels that way to me when it comes to the development of the city. As I've mentioned to you before, the kind of pattern that we seem to see from the end of World War II to the present was largely created trying to avoid a second depression. So we ended up with suburbanization and sprawl, as I've mentioned. And unfortunately, what came out of that was a really good mechanism to create growth and a really good mechanism to create a lot of money. Unfortunately, it didn't create community. It didn't create community development. And unfortunately, it's why I keep harping on the renaming of the planning department of the economic development and planning department. Economic development should be taken off the titling of the department. I requested that of the Charter Commission. They failed to pick up on it. But in any case, as I've mentioned, we, like many cities around the nation, around 1956, when the interstate freeway system got going, within less than 10 years, we doubled in size, and we got predictably pretty ill-considered developments of sprawl, and we're living with the consequences of that now. And I can't see anything that a focus on the financial sector has done. It's resulting in ill-considered planning and ill-considered development. The characterizations of that are things like poor planning, low density, a little bit of something here, residential over here, no really supportive or related commercial. It's just hit and miss. And you can see it when you bring up one of the planning maps that I saw recently for the city. So what needs to be done is all of these elements like MEDC, LEDC, LEAP. You all know what these acronyms mean. I wish everybody would mention what they mean. I'm not going to take the time at the moment, which I know is why you don't as well. But zoning is not the answer. Zoning needs to be trimmed down, if anything. Basically, it needs to be made easier to build basically anything that meets the building code. You certainly need incompatible uses as a factor in zoning. You ought to be able to build starter homes and starter businesses
Thank you.
Things like that.
We have William Walker, followed by Mike Smulligan.
I haven't decided whether I should speak or just stand here silent, because I wonder if anybody is hearing. 3 people are hearing what the constituents are saying. But the purpose of this process we're going through is for everybody on that council to hear what the citizens are saying. But because of something that needs to be addressed, within the minutes or the agenda, they were speaking of issues of lead. I spoke on that before as well. It might be time for our council to start researching that issue. Lead creates mental retardation in children. Only thing is, they grow up to be adults. And obviously they have mental problems. Now we have people sleeping on the sidewalks. Obviously, they got mental issues. It's time for us to start having our houses, this 55% rental, tested for lead. Lead in the paint, lead in the piping system. In 1988, I bought a house. It needed some work. I called in the building department, and they said everything from about 8 inches from the wall inward of the plumbing had to be replaced. It was lead. The house was built in 1888. So everyone had lived in this duplex, large duplex, had been living off of lead. Not just drinking it, but fixing their food in it, boiling it down to a higher concentration, then getting up and getting in the bathtub and bathing in lead. It's time that we start taking a real look, because sometimes we have effects that don't occur to the future. Whether that's a jar of orange juice that sits around for 2 weeks and become wine, or the effects of lead 20 years later. We need to have our building departments start doing inspections of rental property, not for whether there's a latch on the door, but whether or not the paint is lead. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Mike Smulligan, followed by Vidalia Wenslick.
Good evening. My apologies for taking up another 3 minutes of your lives. I know you folks are busy people, and I appreciate your public service. And I also appreciate that many of you are investing a lot of time and energy and have been asking a lot of hard questions and are not getting a lot of love from the community, but I do appreciate your public service. And again, in my earlier comments, I suggested that City Council has an opportunity to rebuild public trust by taking a look at some of the processes, and also to invite the community to remain engaged and to contribute to building a better community. And I just wanted to take my other 3 minutes here and let you know that I'm trying to take my own unsolicited advice. And I'm the newest member of the Mayor's Advisory Commission on Sustainability, which is focused on this document and the 2 people that work for the City of Lansing that are tasked for implementing this document. And there are hundreds of good ideas in here. And according to page 33, only 4 of you were on the council when this was developed. So at my first meeting, I suggested, hey, we should summarize the 40 pages of text and 20 pages of data into an 8-page summary for policymakers. So that you folks that are, again, busy people can digest the key components, but that's also a really good marketing tool for city sustainability staff to inform 100,000 residents of Lansing that we have a big, bold, beautiful vision for a better Lansing, for a cleaner environment, for avoiding environmental injustices. So we're working on that. One thing that I learned at my first meeting of the Mayor's Advisory Commission on Sustainability is that they have already drafted a resolution regarding data centers, putting environmental sideboards on the process. I'm new, I haven't seen that resolution, but my understanding is that's not something that the Mayor's Advisory Commission on Sustainability passes, but in fact, it's a document that is drafted for you folks to review and consider passing in a very public process. My understanding is that draft is on the city attorney's desk, and I hope that that is passed on to you for review and revisions for an even better draft. So there is an opportunity to engage in that process, and those are some exciting things that I'm learning about. And again, please ask more of your community as all of us are up here demanding more of you as our public servants. One last thing in my last 20 seconds here, I want to give a shout out to whoever's idea it was to turn a lot of the one-way streets into two-way streets in downtown Lansing. That's had a very positive effect. I live over by Cedar and 496, and Cedar Street is much louder than the highway. So please consider taking Cedar and Larch and turning those into two-way streets to make that neighborhood more livable and safe for everyone. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is Vidalia Wenslick, followed by Heidi Fry.
Hello, my name is Vidalia. I have been to quite a few of these meetings now. This is the first time I've had the chance to speak. To the three of you that were saying no to the data center the entire time, thank you so much. I'm sure that you guys will be celebrating with the rest of us in the community tonight who are also opposed to the data center. To the other people who have not made a comment or were pretty clear about where they were standing with the data center, I'm very disappointed in you, and so is the rest of your community. There are a lot of young people who are very active in this community. We were talking about how 50% of this place is renters. Renters leave fast when a data center goes into a community, when they're here opposing a data center, when they know it has adverse health effects on them and the families that they're planning to make here, or the lives that they're planning to stay here. Your community came out so many times. They showed up repeatedly telling you, this is exactly what we do not want to happen here. There are so many other things that could go into this community that can really actually uplift us and make us the place we want to continue living in. It was disappointing. It was really disappointing. From a young person, from a renter, from a person who's been in Lansing for 6 years now, who wants to stay in Lansing. If a data center would have went in here, I would have broke my lease early to leave quickly and find somewhere who would put in hard stops against a data center that the rest of your community said no to. We are watching. History has its eyes on you, as Hamilton has said. Your community sees you. Your community sees what you are doing. And your community will take the steps to make sure that the things that are actually good for this community will continue to come for this community and not the things that are here to deteriorate us. Thank you.
Thank you. Our final speaker is Heidi Fry.
Hello, my name's Heidi Fry. I'm a Fourth Ward resident. I'm also a public servant and a park professional, and I wanted to talk a little bit about parkland in the city and some of the discussions that have put parkland under threat in recent discussions. The first is this conversation around the shuffle and the proposed property sale, and then also talking about this latest, addition to the data center. What has kind of come across publicly is almost a threat that if this data center didn't come, Wentworth Park is going to be on the chopping block, essentially. To manage and to steward that land, to steward parkland, is a remarkable honor and duty. So these lands, they come with history. These lands, they are there for our health, mental health. They're there for our community to recreate. They're there for our children, mine and their children and everybody's children, our school children, to enjoy. They're there for green. They're there for many reasons. And I really think we ought to be very circumspect about any proposition that comes forward, not just because, somebody's offering us some cash and this is kind of a shiny thing or whatever. We really need to be very circumspect on letting that property go, because once that land is gone, it's gone, and gone with it is that history. Gone with that is all the community values. These are things that we should really take very seriously. It's not something that we really should think about putting on a ballot just because, and having the public validate the existence of what rightfully belongs to the people. Parkland belongs to the people. To put it on the ballot just because somebody says, hey, I'll give you some money, is kind of preposterous. It's almost an insult to the duty of stewarding that land. So I really just wanted to encourage folks to be very circumspect, to ask those questions, as I know you are, and to be very serious about those public lands for all of us. Thank you.
Thank you.
And with no further business for the Lansing City Council, at 8:58, we are adjourned.
8:58.